Hey you, welcome to my cooking show. I'm your host, Mr. Lippincott, and today we're making cookies. I had a hankering for cookies tonight, and I thought I would delve into my Grammy's special recipe book. She's got some real banger recipes in there. She's always made these wonderful cookies ever since I grew up. The best cookies you've ever eaten. Um, she's no longer with us. Sorry, Grammy. Um, but we'll be passing on her legacy today and learning a little bit about making her cookies. Mmm, very tasty. Now let's go ahead and look at what's inside of our notebook. I haven't broken this thing open in a very long time, so this will be a surprise for both of us. Wow, look how old this book is. It's almost falling apart. Let's be careful when opening this. All right, cookie recipe. Let's see. Um, no, that's not quite it. Um, no. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, perfect. All right. Recipe for one cookie. This makes only one cookie. So let's see. Flour, zero point 0.1 kilograms. Butter, 0.0186 kilograms. Sugar, 0.01 kilograms. One egg white. Baking powder, 0.000, wait, 0.0003 to 0.0009 kilograms. There's a range there. Interesting. Depending on how fluffy you want your cookies. Interesting. Okay. And then cook it for 250 seconds. All right. That sounds pretty doable. All right. As you can see over here, we've got our ingredients list. We've got ourselves a very accurate scale. And we're going to go ahead and measure out everything. Um, need my recipe book. That'll tell me how much. Sorry, Grammy. Sorry. All right. Let's see. Flour is 0.1 kilograms. Maybe a little bit less. All right, very good. Looks good. We'll mix that in. All right. Butter, 0.0186 kilograms. You want to make sure it's softened already. That's important. It doesn't say it in here, but I'm going to make the assumption. Come on, butter. There we go. It got in there. All right. Sugar, 0.01 kilograms. No, that's a little too much. Let's take a little bit off. Perfect. Right on the money. Pour that in. That's important. All right, we got our baking powder. Our baking powder is just going to be so small. We're going to start with 0.0003 kilograms. That's just a little smidgen. You can't even see that. That's going to go into this one cookie. Very good. Now, last but not least, we're going to do our egg. Now, Grammy taught me an egg technique for separating the yolks from the eggs. I don't know what I'm saying. The yolk from the egg whites, we're separating those. All right. Now, Grammy had a special little technique that I'll show you, and you'll learn something today. Learn a little bit of cooking tips. All right. Step one, you need an egg, of course. Get a good angle of what's going on. This is technique passed down by generations and generations. So what you do is you want to take your egg, and we're going to crack it on something. You want to pass the yolk back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The recipe doesn't want the yolk, though. I'm not one to let this go to waste. Oh God, that's awful. Now we got our egg whites. We're going to mix this into our mix right now. There we go. Now we're gonna whisk it away, whisk it up. Let's use one of these things. I don't know what this is called, but we're gonna mix it. Mixy, mixy. And you're looking for kind of like a cookie dough consistency. Forgot the chocolate chips. That's important. They wouldn't be chocolate chip cookies without chocolate chips. They would just be, I don't really know what they would be, but let's make sure we add those chocolate chips. How many, you say? Oh, I don't know. How about 4? This is some good stuff. I would eat this. I would eat this, but it's got egg in it, so you can't be too careful, you know? Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that. All right. Oh, I forgot to mention, I was about to make this video, and lo and behold, our oven stopped working. How often does that happen? Of course, Murphy's Law. So I decided to pick one up from my uncle. This bad boy right here. It's a little simplistic. You can't really control temperature. It just has one temperature. I'm not really sure what that temperature is. We're gonna take our cookie and maybe mash it down a little bit. And we're gonna put it inside. Turn our dial. What was it? 250 seconds, I remember. And now we gotta wait. That's the hardest part. And while it's cooking, I really gotta emphasize, I really hate not knowing the temperature of this thing. I would give just about anything in my entire world to know what the temperature is of this oven. That's my one goal in life. Before I die, I wanna know what the temperature of this oven is. And also a little weird bit too, I used flour. It was this all-purpose flour right here. And sometimes I just lay awake all night wondering, you know, what is the gluten content in my flour? They just don't tell you these things anymore. It's like they're hiding it from you. This bag just doesn't tell you. Wow, that's messed up. It makes you wonder what they're hiding, right? You hear that? You smell that? Those are cookies done baking in the oven. Let's take a peek and see how it's doing. Oh, wow. It came out perfectly. Look at that. That is beautiful. I have never seen a cookie that good before. Let's take a bite and try it. Mmm. You can sure taste those M&Ms. You can sure taste those chocolate chips. Those are delicious. Mmm. We should make more of those. In fact, now that I'm trying this, I wish it had a little bit more fluffiness to it. I wonder if there's a way we can change that. Let's look together. All right. Sorry, it's a good cookie. So yeah, baking powder, 0.0003 to 0.009. That's a range. So depending on how much you add, that'll make your cookie more fluffy. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a bunch of trials. We're gonna change our baking powder a little bit at a time, and we're gonna see how that affects fluffiness. But how can we quantify fluffiness? Well, good thing you asked. We're gonna measure how tall it is with my handy dandy measuring tape. That's right. We're gonna be measuring how tall the cookies are. Our independent variable is going to be baking powder, and our dependent variable is going to be cookie height. How high is that cookie gonna rise? We'll see very soon. How can we be a good scientist? Well, for one, we need to make sure that everything else is held constant except for the things that we are changing and measuring. And the temperature. Stupid oven. We need to make sure that's constant too. So let's go ahead and do this. And to do so, we're gonna need our handy dandy whiteboard. So as you can see, we're gonna be incrementing our baking powder in kilograms. We're gonna start at 0.0003. 0.0004, 0.09. And we're going to take data on the height. Sorry, honey. I know you really want to play piano tonight. I'm really trying to work. This is it. This is what we've been working hard this whole 3 minutes for. We've done it. Now all we gotta do, take these numbers, we're gonna put them into the machine. We're gonna see what it tells us. We're gonna unveil the secrets of the universe right now. We're gonna learn something about baking powder and how it corresponds to fluffiness. That's what we're gonna do. We're learning right now. Let's check out the laptop. Let's see what the laptop shows us. See this graph right here? Ain't that a beaut? That's some wonderful data. We did a fantastic job. What relationship do you see? If you said square root, you'd be correct. Look at that. And that makes sense. The more baking powder you add, it has kind of like a decaying effect. Even though you add more, it doesn't necessarily double it. If you double, the baking powder, it doesn't double the height. I also found something really interesting in Grammy's notebook. Let's check it out. All right, so I didn't realize till now, but there's a backside to this recipe. Let's see what Grammy hid in here for us. Look at that. She gave us an equation. Wow. So this is telling us basically the height of the cookie in meters. And here's all the constants and variables that go into here. Wow. And we can even see right here, we really do have a square root relationship with baking powder. Something I also noticed was it's dependent on temperature and also gluten percentage. Interesting. Those are some of the questions that I've been asking this whole time. It all seems connected somehow. Now, if only there's a way to use this equation and this data with this graph to figure out those things like temperature and gluten content. Man, that would be awesome. Just seems too difficult. Look at that graph right there. It's just so curvy and the equation is so complex. This graph is somehow connected to all of it. I just know it. All the variables affect the shape of this graph in some way or another. And somewhere deep in this data, encoded in it, is the temperature of my oven and the gluten content of my flour. I just know it. It's in there somewhere. But I just don't know how to get it out. There's too much going on. It's curvy. I don't know how to deal with curves. That's too stressful. I don't like things that are curvy. If only there was a way that we can somehow, no, I don't know, it seems impossible. Gosh. Wait a second. Grammy's book. there's a bookmark. There's more pages I can read from. Let's check it out. French, Christmas turkey. Not quite. Let's see. No. Oh my gosh. That's it. It was in front of me all along. The method for simplifying and getting useful info from a curved graph by turning it into a line, aka linearization, Grammy. You've done it. Step 1, identify independent variable. Okay. Step 2, change x-axis to include any modifiers done to an independent variable. Can change y-axis too. Step 3, massage equation until it looks linear. Y equals mx plus b. Step 4, graph with new axis and modify data. Step 5, slope of new linear graph is m from massaged equation. Y-intercept is b from massaged equation. Step 6, plug in constants and solve for unknowns. That's like temperature and gluten content. Oh my gosh, let's give this a shot. All right, so step 1 is identify independent variable. We've done that. Our independent variable here was our baking powder. Step 2 says change x-axis to include any modifiers done to independent variable. So the independent variable was square rooted. So let's look back at our graph, and we're going to change our graph's axes. And when we do that, I'm thinking that's going to change the shape of our graph. So let's open up our laptop. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We know we're going to need to change out this data right here. This is going to look a little bit different. And instead of graphing our baking powder by itself, this time we're going to do the square root of our baking powder. The square root, I'm changing my axes to be the square root of baking powder, which the units will now be in square root kilograms. But before we kind of adjust the data, let's kind of take a look at this equation right here. This is going to be our step 3. We're going to try and massage this until it kind of looks like the form of a line, y equals mx plus b. Write it like this. H equals, we're going to do E times the square root of time, all right, over the square root of temperature. And then we're going to put the square root of our baking powder right there, and then we're going to add our gluten percentage times our flour divided by sugar times our butter. Now I didn't do a whole lot here, but we're kind of massaging it. You'll notice right here, we're going to call that m. That old chunk right there, e squared root of t over square root of t, that's going to be our m. This right here, we're defining to be our x. Remember, we changed our x-axis so that this is going to be our x-axis instead. And this chunk right here, you guessed it, that's our b. That is our y-intercept. So hey, it kind of does look like the equation of a line. Y equals mx plus b. Now that's pretty cool. Now, let's go ahead and adjust our data a little bit, modify it, and then we'll regraph it. See what happens. To modify it, we're going to take this data, we're going to square root all of our baking powder data. Square root, square root, square root, square root, square root, square root, and square root. Let's see what these numbers look like. Let's erase these. All right, I've square rooted all of my values. I've calculated them out. Here's the new ones, 0.0173, so on and so forth, all the way down to 0.03. All right, so now we've got our new data. We've modified it. We've got our height. Let's go ahead and graph it. Let's see what shape it is. Whoa, that's a line. Oh my gosh. And you know what we can do with this? We can tell the computer draw a line right through it. A line of best fit is what they call it. That's a line that tries to fit to all the points the best it can. Let's go ahead and do that and see what it looks like. Wow, look at that. It generated a line of best fit. It even gave us an equation with it too. This tells us that a slope of our graph is 0.724 and the y-intercept is 5.92 times 10 to the negative 3. I wonder how we can use that. Oh, perhaps with our equation. So according to our graph, our slope, which is this bit right here, e times square root of t divided by square root of capital T, this should all be equal to 0.724. And right here, our y-intercept, it looks like all of this junk right here, this should be equal to 5.92 times 10 to the negative 3. Interesting. Now if I just plug in the right variables, I can solve for the experimental values that I'm interested in. I can finally have my dreams fulfilled. All right, let's tackle our slope first. So our slope, that's going to tell us what our oven's temperature is finally at. So if we recall, eggs should just be 1. So we know that this 0.724 is going to be equal to this stuff here. So we'll write this 0.724. That's going to be equal to this equation right here. That gives us a temperature of 477. Wow, that oven's hot. Just kidding, that's in Kelvin. If we were to convert this to Fahrenheit, that's going to be 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So it looks like my oven is stuck at 400. That's pretty cool. Now let's take a look at our y-intercept. We're going to erase this. We know our y-intercept from our graph is going to be 5.92 times 10 to the negative 3. And we know that's going to be equal to our it should give us 0.11. That tells us a gluten value of 11%. That's pretty standard for all flour. I guess that bag of flour didn't have anything to hide after all. That's great. Now I hope you learned something today. Now I sure did. I learned just how much I love my Grammy. Now I suggest for you, the viewer, go call your grandmother. Give her a call, chat her up, talk about the weather,